Thank you, Ms. Pedro. Your motion for citizenship on behalf of the new citizens is hereby granted. And declare today that I am a citizen of the United States of America. So help me God. Congratulations.
Citizenship to be a commitment you've made to improve your country, your community, your schools. Take pride in being a U.S. citizen. Realize you have responsibilities along with your rights and privileges here. Speak up about your views. Contribute time and energy in making your communities and schools the best they can be.
I'm the chair of Minnesota ACORN, and
my name is Denise Brantley, the chair of the Foreclosure Rescue Scam.
That's right, and we're here to have a town meeting this evening about foreclosure scams. We're going to give you some information tonight. You're going to hear about what they are, how they happen in the community, who's affected, how they were affected, and the most important thing about what you can do, and absolutely have a chance to talk with some elected officials tonight that are here today and are supportive of this and need to hear more about it so they can be more supportive of it. And that will give us a chance to do some actual action, some one-to-one kind of elbow rubbing and talking with each other about this problem that's predicating our communities. It's weakening the strength of our families, it's weakening our neighborhoods, and we have to make sure that we just don't have this anymore.
Get up, get out, and get involved. Once again, welcome to Citizenship Chronicles. This is Stephen M. Nelson, your host. This week, we're going to be looking at ACORN and their battle against the mortgage foreclosure scam known by the Attorney General as equity stripping. Last summer, we went on a march in Marine against one of the first that came to our attention, a man named Henry Grant. I'll show you a little bit of the rally that went on there. And then we're going to move over to the state capitol where we have a bill that is being moving through the legislature, where it had a hearing in front of the Commerce Committee last week, and I'll give you a chance to hear what the scam is all about and what the good citizens who testified had to say about why we need a bill like that. So here in their own words is ACORN and the battle against mortgage foreclosure rescue scams. Again, get up, get out, and get involved.
No! What kind of thing we're going to get out of this today? Justice! Right on! Justice from who? From Henry Grant!
Henry Grant has been stealing people's homes all over Minneapolis.
Henry Grant needs to be caught now, and he needs to come out of the home and quit hiding from people.
And whenever you need a sheriff's knock here.
There's a sheriff!
Sheriff is right here.
Henry Grant, come out, you little scam! Henry Grant!
Come on! Come out!
You can't!
Who are we?
ACORN!
Who are we?
ACORN!
Who are we?
ACORN!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
All right.
What did the foreclosure scam do to you, Sandy? Foreclosure scam?
Foreclosure scam put me in the hospital, took my son away, took my house away, but at least I'm still living in it. I'm more fortunate than these other people. And you need to do something about this man.
He destroys families.
He destroys families, lives,
And
there's people in prisons and jails that don't do anything compared to what this man has done.
Right.
That's right.
All right.
You, Marilyn. He took my home so so I can't bring my son home anymore. It was all modified for him. Right now he's going to have surgery. I wanted to bring him home for 2 days and I couldn't. He wanted his mom and I just can't bring him home because it's not accessible where we live and there's cats. I want him to stop now and I want him to quit hurting families like this so they can have their kids at home.
You Rufus Thibodeau.
Took my home.
Get over there so we can see you.
You're on candid camera.
Who scammed you, say Chem?
Rufus Thibodeau.
What did he do?
What did he do?
He took your home.
He took my home.
Right on. What do you want from Rufus Thibodeau?
My home back. And justice. ACORN. Who are we?
ACORN.
Who are we?
ACORN.
What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
Who are we?
ACORN.
What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
Who are we?
ACORN.
Who are we?
ACORN.
What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
Who are we?
ACORN.
Who are we?
ACORN.
What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
Who are we?
ACORN.
Who are we?
ACORN.
What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
The Senate Commerce Committee will come to order. It is Wednesday, March 3rd, 2004, and we have one bill on our agenda. And as members can see from the agenda, there's a long list of people to testify. And I thank everybody for accommodating us for having this, moving this up to 1 o'clock. There was a Rules Committee meeting, I believe. Was it rules? No, there was a meeting. Okay, and then some of our members couldn't be here. So, with that, I say, well, I can't say welcome to our committee. I'd like to see you at the committee, Senator Anderson. And, appreciate that you have brought this bill before us. Please feel free to start.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Madam Chair and members. We appreciate that you've given us a hearing on Senate File 2412. We think this is a very, very important issue for all the communities that all of us represent here in the Senate. And we're very excited that we think we can make some good, strong efforts to do something about it today and get started in that process. I want to talk a little bit just to paint you a picture of what the problem that we're trying to deal with, the equity stripping problem. It's a unique problem that's a consequence of some unique factors. Number one, we have rising home valuations, and probably all of you have that in your home districts. Home valuations are rising very rapidly in a lot of neighborhoods. That's true, I know, across the city of St. Paul. At the same time, we've had a recession, and we've had a number of people who are facing financial difficulty. So you have folks oftentimes who are in a crisis, whether it be the most common reasons are job loss, or a medical crisis, or a divorce, and suddenly someone who is a homeowner who's been putting their blood, sweat, and tears into owning a home for many years is facing a financial crisis and isn't able to keep up with their payments, and they're suddenly facing foreclosure. But the fact of these rising home valuations means that a lot of folks who are in these difficult financial situations, who are very vulnerable, also have a lot of equity in their homes. And they have a lot of value in those homes. And that combination, the vulnerability and the value in their homes, makes them vulnerable to scam artists that we call equity strippers. And that's what we want to do something about. What happens is, in a typical equity stripping kind of scenario, is that someone who is in a vulnerable position, who's got a financial difficulty, who's facing foreclosure of their home, trying to find a way out, trying to figure out how to get out of this problem and who can help them, someone comes along and says they will rescue them from foreclosure. They mislead the homeowner about the nature of the transaction. what happens is that the homeowner ends up transferring the title of their home, the deed, excuse me, to this scam artist, to this equity stripper, who then signs them up for a deal that lets them supposedly buy the home back. But it means, usually the deal consists of a contract for deed or a lease with an option to buy, and the payments are usually more than the house payments were. So you've set people up in a situation where they can't financially hold on to their homes. And so the homeowner oftentimes doesn't realize actually that they've given up ownership of their homes, and they're stuck. Meantime, after the equity stripper conducts this deal, they are able to strip all the equity out through a different financial transaction, get their profits out, and then the homeowner is scrambling to try to keep up with this new contract that puts them in an impossible situation where they can't make the monthly payments. They end up evicted and losing their homes and their equity. So it's really the worst of both worlds, and it's a terrible problem that's happening all over. We know it's all over the suburbs. We know it's all over the central cities. I don't know how many communities. I think we actually have a list of all the communities that have been affected that you may have in front of you. Has this been passed out?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
I think it is.
And so look at all these cities that have been where this has happened. So I'm going to very, very quickly cover a couple of the key highlights of the bill. We have Prentice Cox from the Attorney General's office who can do that in more detail. But I just want to really quickly tell you what we're trying to accomplish here, and then we'll have a lot better testimony that can cover the details. Essentially what we're doing is creating a definition of what we call a foreclosure reconveyance. So it defines this transaction where someone takes a home under foreclosure, transfers ownership, and then sets up a deal to somehow transfer it back to the homeowner while they live there. And a foreclosure purchaser is defined as someone who does more than one of those transactions. In the definition, we specifically exclude banks and credit unions, so they are specifically not included in the definition or the restrictions. We require a license system for these foreclosure purchasers. And we allow the Attorney General's office the ability to enforce that licensure system. And there's some boilerplate language in here that basically talks about how licenses will be issued or penalties if there are violations of the prohibited practices. So we have a list of prohibited practices that basically set up some real clear consumer protection standards. For example, the homeowner has to have an ability to pay for the deal, the contract that's made. There has to be a